Cherokee 9082 uniform, 27 right, ready for takeoff. Staying in the pattern, request left pattern, 27 left.
Cherokee 18 uniform, taxi up, hold short, runway 27 right, number 3 for departure.
Hold short, 27 right, Cherokee 82 uniform. Okay, so we're number 3 for departure. That guy's taking off. You're just going to pull up to the line and stop. White arrows, get it lined up, check your windsock, and then full power.
Gillespie Tower, Cherokee 8441 Bravo, off 27 right for right downwind departure.
King 4216 Sierra, Gillespie Tower, make right.
It looks like the wind's right down the runway, so neutral ailerons.
16 Sierra, Wilco. Any chance runway 16
full power
is available?
Here with your feet, keep your thumb pushing on that, okay, so it doesn't walk backwards on us. Watch your airspeed, call it airspeed alive. Airspeed alive. Rotating.
At that time. Use caution, I have 2 downwind departures.
Okay, well, it's the 2 downwind departures.
All right, now accelerate to 79, so don't let the nose get too high. Lower the nose just a little bit so we can accelerate.
Gillespie Tower, Cessna 739 on Romeo Foxtrot at holding short on runway.
Okay.
Runway 27 right.
On the upwind, I am to contact 123.8, so we are now on the upwind. I have the radios.
3 Alpha Juliet, can we turn right crosswind now?
3 Alpha Juliet, the affirmative traffic, just turn that you're following, you can begin your crosswind.
3 Alpha Juliet.
Gillespie Tower, Cherokee 9082 uniform upwind 27 right for 27 left.
3 Alpha Juliet, monitor tower 120.7, look for that traffic headed on crosswind.
3 Alpha Juliet, thank you. Inside.
Cherokee 2 uniform, make left traffic, runway 27 left, report AB in the tower.
Left traffic 27 left, report AB in the tower, Cherokee 82 uniform. Okay, so all of this is good. We're going to go out to where we normally turn right, we're going to turn left. Okay? So, see how you're climbing out nicely close to 80 knots? Touch more right rudder and that ball will be right in the center. Now, when you make this turn, you're going to have to probably keep some right rudder in there, but just not as much. So start your turn to the left. Give me a nice 25, 30-degree bank to the turn to the left, and use whatever rudder pressure is required to kind of keep that ball in the center. Don't stare at the ball, just know where it is. Now roll your wings level. We're climbing to 1,200 feet, so at 1,200 feet, lower the nose, and then pull the power back to about 2,300 RPM, kind of like we were doing on the other pattern. Bring it on back. Keep your nose down. Now, see this first valley here? Turn down this valley. And we're going to head right over, parallel to the runway, and we're going to stay down at 1,200 feet. So you're going to have to push the nose down lower the nose. And I'll pull the power back a little bit because that's almost the climb power. So about 2,250, maybe 2,300. Trim the plane. But trim the plane so that we can stay straight and level. We should be doing about 90 to 95 knots and holding altitude. We're a little high.
Uniform, runway 27 left, clear touch and go.
Clear touch and go, 27 left, Cherokee 82 uniform. Okay, so nose is up, so what are we going to do? We're going to climb. Yeah. So you're going to have to put that forward pressure on and roll that wheel forward, take that pressure off your hand. Okay. So good, you got me here. You want me to show you the first pattern?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're here. We like to be at 1,200 feet on this one. We were at 1,600 feet on the other side. When I'm abeam the numbers, the touchdown spot, this power comes back to about 1,700.
1,700 RPMs, okay?
1,700 RPM. As the plane slows down, the RPMs will continue to drop. That's the initial setting, is 1,700.
Okay.
So I don't have to keep finding 1,700 because it's going to keep dropping from that. As I come downhill, I'm at 80 knots. So I'm holding it at 80 knots because I'm probably trimmed a little off, so I'm going to just adjust my trim so that I'm 80 knots with 1 notch of flaps. I'll make my turn about here, a little past the blue roof. Usually we're right over it, but I was on the high side. Now I'm going to square off and look at that little runway. See how much smaller it is? We haven't paid a lot of attention to it. We've never come into that one, have we? Okay, so I'm going to put in the second notch of flaps and turn about here. And now, if I keep this amount of bank in, I'm going to roll out on the taxiway. I don't want to land on the taxiway. So as I come here, I'm slowly taking that bank out so that by the time my wings are level, I'm right on the extended center line of 27 left. Okay? I'm flying about 70, 75 knots. I'm right where I want to be. Last notch of flaps. Speed's going to slow to between 65 and 70, just like we were doing the other day. At this point, I'm looking at my windsocks. So what do you think of the windsocks? How are we looking?
Straight down the strip. We're looking
straight
good.
down the runway, aren't they? Okay. So I'm at between 65 and 70 knots, something like that. If I find myself staying high, I can pull this power out and we're trading altitude for airspeed. We're keeping our airspeed in that 65 to 70 knot range. Staying on the center line, adjusting for any wind drift, using rudder and aileron both to keep ourselves aligned the way we want. And now look at the altitude here. Use your peripheral vision to see how high we are off the runway. Stay on the center line. Full back pressure. I'll get rid of the flaps. We don't have as much runway to play with here, so I want to be a little quicker.
No games.
Staying right here. Stay on the center line.
Rotate.
Rotate. Here we go. Now, I've got it trimmed a little nose heavy because I had it trimmed for the downwind and trimmed for the pattern. So in this case, what we can do is we'll just use a little back pressure for the climb out rather than trimming it up and down, up and down. Or, and right now I want to do that because I want you to kind of get the pattern down and the round out and the touchdown, and I have it trimmed kind of the way we want. So in order to climb out at 79 knots, I'm going to just add a little back pressure to do that. Later on, I'll have you trim both for the takeoff and the landing so that you get into a trim exercise, but I don't want to throw too much at you now.
No, that would be great.
You have the flight controls.
All right.
All right, you have the flight controls?
I have the flight controls.
You have the flight controls. Okay, good. So, our pattern altitude is 1200. You're going to climb out here, and you'll start your turn. I'm going to show you now in a little more depth, since we're now on this side, where we start the turn. We want to get past this little ridge line. And see Fanita Road down here? Just about now, if you see Fanita, if you make the turn, we will stay just this side of the 125. And for noise abatement purposes, that's what they ask of us. Keep climbing. There you go. And then there's your first valley. So that's where we're going to go. Square it off a little bit. Start your turn. Now, you're going to have to start your turn and level off at 1200 kind of at the same time.
I'm doing this all backwards all of a sudden.
Well, we'll work on it.
You know what? It's all left. That's why.
Yeah, it's a whole new pattern, isn't it? Okay, so exactly why we put this in. All right, so now we're at 1200, so push the nose down to that cruise attitude.
Okay.
You know where the nose is supposed to be.
Got it.
Pull the power to about 2200, 2300 RPM. Get it back there quickly. Can't take forever or we'll climb. Okay, so a little less power. There you go. Yeah, right in there. All right, now, see us coming up to about 90 knots?
Yes.
It should be at about 95. We'll be nice and straight and level here. See the blue roof?
I do.
All right, we want to fly just to the right of that.
Okay.
And you'll kind of pivot around it.
So, okay.
Cherokee 82 uniform will be in the tower.
Cherokee 82 uniform, remain 27 left, clear, touch and go.
Clear, touch and go, 27 left, Cherokee 82 uniform. Okay, so you're abeam the touchdown point, pull the power back to 1700 RPM, keep the nose up, and put in one notch of flaps. Now, come on, let the nose come on over, push the nose down a little bit, and establish about an 80 knot glide, because we're kind of trimmed for close to that, so it shouldn't require a lot of pressure on your part. Relax your hand. There you go.
A little too much airspeed.
A little too much power, so we weren't coming down. All right, so we'll just come out here a little bit. Now, as you make the turn, okay, that's fine. Let the nose drop. We want to descend. We're in a descent mode here, so don't be ground shy. Square it off. That's That's all right. We're doing a lot lower stuff here than we were before, and we're closer in, so your view is different. All right, wait a minute.
Not yet.
Notch your flaps. Start your turn. Okay. Now, let the nose stay down so we come down. Now, line us up on that center line. Put in that third notch of flaps, and let's go to 65 knots. How do we control speed? Back pressure.
Back pressure.
Right?
Yep.
If you pull the back, if you add back pressure, we'll slow down. If you release back pressure, we'll speed up. 65 to 70 knots is about what we want. Look at us. We're aimed right for the numbers. Come to the right, just a hair.
Gillespie Tower, this is Alon, November 56901 Foxtrot at Lake Murray with condition Bravo. Inbound, request touch and goes on 27 right if possible. Now I'm at 3,500 feet and descending.
So I'm adjusting the throttle a little bit, but let's move to the center line. Let's move over to the right,
Alon, November
about 15, 20 feet.
Air 291 Foxtrot, expect runway 27 left, report a beam to tower.
All right, so start your round out about now.
27 left to beam
Let's
in the
land
tower. 901 Foxtrot.
Oh, too much. I guess we're going up again.
Well, it's all right.
Sorry about that.
It's a landing. It was just,
What we wanted.
it was inartful. Wait. I don't want to pull out too much flaps when I'm down low like that. I'm accelerating. Now you can get out the last notch of flaps. Okay. So you notice I took out the first notch of flaps once I started accelerating.
So we wanted to
It's mostly drag. That last notch of flaps, that 40 degrees setting, is mostly drag. There's some lift, but it's mostly drag. So if I go to 2 notches of flaps, I've got a lot of lift in the wing, built into the wing with 2 notches. Okay, you've got the flight control. That wasn't bad. You've got the power. So if you find yourself sinking, if it looks like we're not going to make the runway, you can kind of see the angle changing, push in a little bit of power. If you find yourself going too far, you pull out a little power. You know what I mean?
Got it.
But let's move to the right, and let's stay on the center line a little bit. There you go. This is the center line right here. A little bit to the left now. Okay, but see how we're making this nice descent at 68 knots? This is perfect. But if it looks like we're going to come up short, push in just a little bit of power, just enough to hear it. Push in a little power to hear it. There you go. See what that does to your glide angle? All right, now pull all the power out. Keep our nose aligned with our feet that aligns the nose, and we keep bringing it up. There you go. Now we're down on the runway. Get rid of your flaps. You have all the flight controls. Keep your hand on there. You only need one hand to steer. And steer with your feet when you're on the ground. Great. Touch your right rudder. At that frequency is called the air-to-air.
Air-to-air, okay.
And the one that we typically use in this area, there could be others that you'll find on a chart. There's several that are kind of standard. The one that gets used in the San Diego area is 122.75. So while you're flying along, why don't you put in 122.75 in COM 1?
I know, but
Okay, yeah, and flip it over.
Climbing to 5,500 feet, southbound, Cessna 958.
Okay, now look at your ball in the turn coordinator. So we're not turning. Yeah, so now that you pushed it into the air, of course we're starting to turn, so you're going to have to level the wings. You can tell that the wings are leveled when they're level here and they're leveled out there. So wings level and ball in the center, we're now coordinated. That's what they mean by coordination. All right, so give me a turn to the left to 060 degrees. It's a nice gentle turn. It's a very small heading correction, so you don't need a 30-degree bank to do a 30-degree heading correction.
Could you repeat the heading, please?
060. Okay, so put it on the 6. Come to the right. You're too far. So see the 6?
Yeah, I got it now. Right.
Okay. So without you on it, take your hand off the yoke. Without you on it, it's real close. It's about 82. So if I really wanted to get a solid 80, I would lift the nose till I get to about 80, and I would reach down here and I'd roll that wheel back maybe an inch. And that should establish 80 pretty close without a lot of assistance from me. But close counts here, so 80, 82 is all fine. So now put in your second notch of flaps. I'll pull out a little bit more power since we're doing all this stuff. We're finding ourselves a little on the high side, but we're good. Reducing power steepens our descent and increases our rate of descent. So we're coming downhill more quickly for every 100 yards that we're moving across the ground.
27 left has no precision lights or anything.
No.
You guys land on that short one again, huh?
Yep.
Good.
So put in a third one since we're still pretty high.
Way high, are we not?
We're quite high, but that's all right. Because if you'll hold it at about 65 knots, look at how putting those flaps in and having this power out is really steepen the descent.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're going to stay between 65 and 70 knots. We probably won't need any power to make the run. Notice that the poppies are out of service. Even
make right traffic ground with 271 tower.
Here's light traffic, 427 right, 7931.
Good. 65 knots. Just keep your nose down a little bit. Keep it down. Don't get ground shy yet. Right now, let's fly level along the runway for just a little bit, and as it sinks, keep bringing the nose up. Bring it up.
Good. North. So this is 74 Bravo Tango, course tower, and a right base from 271 report late.
Center line. We're just going to slow down with full base.
Right, all report the golf course, Bravo Tango.
Get off at Delta 3.
Cherokee 2 uniform, turn left at Delta 3, contact ground.
Left at Delta 3, contact ground, AT uniform, good day.
Good day.
Where's Delta? This is Delta 3.
Yep.
All right, the thing is down there.
So stop on just on the other side of these hold short lines without getting into deltas. So stop here. Excellent. So now we're not in delta and we're not sticking out in the runway. So after landing checklist.